One-on-One with Yourself podcast, presented by mental performance coach Nico Bourgade.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Mind Game of Basketball. We are here for round number 2 with Coach Oliver Kostić. Bonjour Oliver, how are you doing?
Bonjour mon camarade, ça va bien?
Okay, doing well, thank you. So the idea, the first episode that we had was very passionate. We had a lot of very positive feedback from all over the world about the things that we had discussed. And the idea was to make round 2 and make sure that we could actually discuss things that we hadn't taken the time to talk about in the first episode. So today we're going to start eventually with something that's interesting, even on the mental side, the mental approach from a coach's standpoint, and how you eventually manage to work both as a head coach and your role eventually as an assistant coach. For example, last year you were coaching Juventus. Now you're coaching Kuwait national team, as well as another club team that you're going to tell people about. But in between, you are also the assistant coach from national team of Serbia. You have been assistant coach in the past. Coach, can you tell us how you manage to adapt from either being the coach or the head coach or being the assistant coach?
Oh, yes. I would say now it's a lot of mix between a head coach position and assistant coach position in the last couple of years of my coaching. And actually was more or less same in the past as well. So it was kind of wearing 2 different pair of shoes for me, for let's say for a pretty good time. Also was the part of it in Bayern Munich where I spent 6 years over there. And let's say now from that point, I would say it's a matter of experience that I earned through these years. But also what I want to mention, it's about having clear a role and the zone of responsibility. So when all these things are clear, I think it's easier for any coach to adapt, for any coach to run the position that actually has. When you are a head coach, of course, your kind of role and responsibility is a bit different. Most of the time, like you actually care about basketball program, about a team concept, about communication, about the media, how to handle win and lose, and many things in general as a part of the job, or like I would say a role and a responsibility for a head coach position. In a position of assistant coach, of course, you have a bit of responsibility, but not that kind like a head coach. And now when I talk about assistant coach now more, it's depends also of head coach concept in the program, depends of the club level. It's different to be assistant coach in a bigger program or a bigger organization than, let's say, mid-level or low level. This depends about many things, but overall, actually that exists some basic, let's say, role that assistant coach. I mean about the first assistant. That now in the past usually the clubs had 1 or 2 assistants. Now talking about the present time. If you look at in EuroLeague level teams, there are at least 4 or 5 guys, even more. Is growing. The coaching staff is growing year by year. So that way, it's a lot of people involved in in the coaching stuff, in a, let's say, assistant job. But of course, there are different roles. I'm going to be focused more about being actually the first assistant role, where I can talk more about details, having in the last 3 years, having this role in the national team of Serbia. In the past was, of course, different things, but let's say be focused on those things. So if I talk about this, let's say that I mentioned already how head coach area of responsibility is going. And of course, if you're assistant coach, depends a lot of what exactly the head coach is asking you to do. So like I said, there is a basic things, regarding the preparation for the practice, preparation for the upcoming games, collecting information what are actually important for the head coach or for the team. Of course, there are a lot of stuff you do off court, you do on court, a bunch of things. But overall, being in the role of first assistant coach is something that you're actually supposed to be a bridge between the head coach and the players, or let's say also in one hand the bridge between the head coach and the coaching staff. So that position, which I call as a bridge, should be really, really well done, because if the bridge is stable, of course, that everything is going well. But there are a lot of challenges in this situation, and there are a lot of situations where the coach needs to know not only about basketball but also to have good life experience and know how to handle many things, especially when seeing today calendar of competition where actually you have almost every 3-4 days a game plus traveling or whatever. There are a lot of things to handle. Of course, there are a lot of things to handle. Depends of the mood of the team and organization, which is very close connected to the winning or losing situation. And overall, a lot of problems that they can comes up, like actually is going in any level of the team or any level of the organization. So that's really specific role, really demanded role. This is why I say it's a lot of responsibility in position of the being first assistant coach, but in other hand, like making the difference. Of course, that position of the head coach is much higher by the responsibilities regarding the second position.
Right. I think a lot of coaches will be able to relate to what you said. And I would like to point out also the similarities that there are between the fact that you address topics, like understanding your role, communication, depending on the level, and eventually I often use the word standards, but no matter where you're going to be coaching, if you accept certain role, you might have limitations according to your role that's given to you, but you're always going to have to show up with your standards that are from your values, right? And I think there are a lot of similarities to what is being asked for players as well. It is the same way than for a player who's coming into a team. What role is he going to have within the team? What's the level? What's his potential according to that team, and eventually how he can address it on the mental side. The mental approach of it. You talked also about the relationship eventually with the players. How can you just dive a little in the difference of management, of relationship that you might have between being the head coach and being eventually the assistant coach?
Before I jump into this area, I would say what I would like to add to the very important thing to the position of any assistant coach, but especially of first assistant coach. This is initiative, and having this level or this kind of initiative that always cause the reaction and making good things around. I think it's very important and necessary for any assistant coach who wants really to help not just the head coach, but also the rest of the coaching staff and the players as a main topic. So this is something what every assistant coach must bring. There are many situations, like I've been in a different situations, and I talk about that right now before we jump back to the relationship that you mentioned. It's about if you know more about head coach, actually that you spend more time with a head coach, that you know exactly how the philosophy is, that you know exactly how it actually that the thoughts, if I can say, jumping close to the shoes of head coach, that you really know what coach feels, what coach thinking about, which direction, and then knowing these things, finding the way how to help him the best possible way. So this kind of initiative, and of course initiative in order, to improve and implement the things that can really help as a tools head coach to make his job even easier and better, and of course to help the team to improve and develop. So this is something what I want to really underline and mention before we jump to tell me.
And according to what you say, I'm going to ask not a stupid question, but a question that is going to make sense to a lot of people. But I would like you to eventually clarify or tell me how important, and it might sound naive, but I'm going to explain why. How important is the trust, the confidence that has to be drawn between the assistant coach and the coach? I mean that because I have, through the time, met different coaching staffs. You have some who are able to develop trust and confidence between each other, and some who have eventually limitations the way that maybe on the human side, they don't get along as well, or on the coaching perspective, there might be difference of point of views. There might be difference of ambitions, maybe sometimes contradictory. And sometimes, for example, we're going to see, you have, for example, in FS, the head coach became the assistant coach. How is it to manage that situation? Okay, he was assistant coach before, he came back, he became coach, then he became assistant coach again. That's a situation that you need to make sure that it's clear for everyone about what's your role, like you talked about, but then make sure that there is no ambiguity about the trust and why we're here for. We're here to perform, we're here to get the best for the team. But I believe that the theory is that the same for players who are motivated to play. All right, I'm here to get the best and to prepare the team to win. That's in the text, the theory. But in practical, you have some teams and some coaches who manage to do this fine, but you also have situations where eventually assistant coaches might not be in the best position because they're here to accept the job. They might want to be more than assistant coaches, and they might eventually struggle to deliver the best for the coach. And it might become kind of a conflict in some situations. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I would say for me, the most important thing is mutual respect and trust. And if this exists between the two people, I think that the job can be well done. And this is something what needs to be developed on a daily basis and upgraded. I believe this is the starting point. Of course, that doesn't come easy. You need time for this. But I would say, because you mentioned some things which are, let's say, live thing in the many organizations. First of all, talking from the position of the assistant coach, if you accept the role of assistant coach, you might be honest and clear by yourself that accepting this role and position, you're gonna do your best in this role and position, not having another, let's say, purpose or another, let's say, dream is dream, but you can always control. you can always control and say, be honest and do your job on the best professional way in order to help. And I'm always for this. If there are some people or persons that we know that exist in the basketball world, that they accept this position not because of position to be there and to do this job, but being close to another job or another position, I don't think this is the proper way. Of course, this exists. I don't think this is a proper way, and I don't see the bright future of being in that position and doing that things. What I want to say, of course, there are many situations happen that you belong to, you have your loyalty to one organization being for a while. Like you mentioned the situation in Efes, which I know the person, and I know the coach who spent more than 10 years being there as assistant coach in different situations with the different coaches, but he showed his loyalty to the organization. And I think the why he got the respect back from organization, giving this chance to be in a position of the head coach, it's for me natural and normal. Of course, the things didn't go well from that point, but the organization didn't want to lose the right loyal guy who spent some. And I think that he was very honest and clear in doing his job. I don't know what was inside. Of course, we talk as a people seeing this from our position. But one of the things what I see also following after that new coach and head coach who got back actually to his previous position, I see that, like a good teamwork that actually reflect on the team game. So if you see now the way that the team is performing, shows that everything is in order. Of course, if there is some turbulence inside, you're gonna see that, or you're gonna feel. Of course, there are different ways to see that, or different way to manage it. So those things are like this. For me, I think the most important, if you accept this, then do this best possible way to help the head coach and to help the staff, to help the organization, players, and this. And if in some moment something happened which is out of your let's say control, that you never know what happened in some organization, this and that, of course, then if organization asks you to become a head coach or this, then of course is a different situation. But being there, not doing your job honestly with a full potential, and not doing this honestly to the people around you just because you want to be close to the position that you are dreaming about, I think it's not a good way to enter in this world and not to enter to this position. So this is my standpoint, and I will always be like that. So because I will open just a little bit, because I spent a lot of years as assistant coach, and then of course I had my head coach experience for a long time, because actually I spent more than 25 years already in this business. For a long time was one point that, like if you become a if you become a coach, of course you enter most of the time. They are not always by the rule, but most of the time you enter the organization by position of assistant coach. Then you grow, and then there is one turning point when you become a head coach. Once you become a head coach, of course, I was taught that after that, you should always look for this position and nothing else. I see a little bit different way, because for me, okay, it was a matter of the time when we all started work like 25 years and more years ago. And that was clear. And the basketball is different. Organizations are different. Competition was different. The number of the coaches was different. And it was different circumstances in that time. And I will put this to belong to this period of the time. But being after that, from my point, being in the different organizations, different level of the clubs, I understood, and working with a different level of the coaches, I understood. You are actually a basketball coach, and there are just different positions that you can get from time to time. And I always discuss with my colleagues about what is better for you, to be a head coach in a low level or a mid-level organization and league or competition, or to be an assistant coach in a high-level organization. And this is one of the things that, we can also discuss maybe shortly now, but in the future, this is also one of the topics that is very interesting to talk about. For me, first of all, whatever you as a service, actually, what is the position of the assistant coach? It's a service for the head coach, service for the players, service for the staff. So like the others as well, just different roles. But anytime you feel that you are improving and developing as a coach, upgrading your basketball knowledge, that you are in a good way. This is how I feel. If I see myself a year ago and I see that I'm a better basketball coach and a better person, I think that I'm on the right way. If I'm somewhere where I just doing the stuff maybe not possible to do in the full potential of knowledge that you have, and not having the great circumstances around you that you can really do that, and then you stay there because it's a job. I rather always choose to be in a different role, in a better organization where more benefit for everyone will come, where you have a high-level coach, or what I call masterminds, basketball masterminds, where you can discuss, learn, and upgrade your basketball knowledge, which is, we are all agree, I believe, that the basketball is tremendous, improving, not only now year by year, it's a month by month. So being close to this, I think it's necessary for every coach who really wants to be up to date. Right? So this is this.
And
if you want to take now a short break, then we're gonna jump back to the relationship, what you mentioned before, but I think was important from my side to say about it.
Of course, no, but I would like even to keep going on, follow up with the fact that you talked about the difference of period of times, for example, since you started coaching. And we clearly see, like, you've been coaching again at the higher level and then being assistant behind. When you played against Team USA during the Olympics, who were the assistant coaches? They were clearly like top NBA coaches.
Absolutely.
And they were assistant coaches. They accepted to be assistant coaches. And not only with Team USA, but you see it in the NBA as well. You see it in the NBA.
I will interrupt you also for your national team.
Yeah, of course. Of course. No, of course. I mean, it's an example for my national team, but also for France national team, but also in the NBA. In the NBA, how you have like former coaches, head coaches, who actually go back to becoming assistant coach. I'm going to even take an example of a former long-time coach, Jeff Van Gundy. When I went to college in US, he was coach of the New York Knicks in 2001, and he came for a clinic to our school, and he was coaching the Knicks, who had been to the NBA Finals, then stopped coaching for a while. He went to Houston Rockets, then stopped coaching for a while, then was commentator on TV, and now is assistant coach again. He was like a coaching consultant with the Celtics, and now is coaching again as an assistant coach, taking care of defense. And that's interesting to see how some people through time, they eventually have differences of ambitions depending on where they are in life, where they have to show, where they have to prove, what they feel like doing, what drives them to go to work and to be passionate about. And most importantly, once again, like you said, who they're working with. Because I feel the same in my own little world, that the work that I do is outside of the content, the quality, and the standards that I might have. It's also mainly about who do I work with. And that's really important to remember that, like you said, you might have your ambitions, your value, your philosophy, and do things, but if you don't work with the right people, it's complicated to execute on the long term what you really want to do.
Yeah, I fully agree. And this is how the how I see these things. You touch the right areas, and we can remember also. You mentioned 2001 or 2002 when I remember when Greg Popovich was assistant coach of national team, and he was actually head coach of San Antonio when the best period of this team. He was assistant coach in the national. Or however, Mike Krzyzewski, who was a college head coach, he had the NBA head coaches as assistant coaches in his national team. So means I don't mean that this we should from my point, it's normal and understandable that we need to look. I'm a coach, and this is my basic occupation. What kind of role I'm gonna get depends of many things, but I don't wanna. This is what I mentioned exactly. In a national team of Serbia, I have exactly my clear role, and I know what I'm doing there. So that's my part of the job, and that's my part of let's say service that I give to head coach and to all people over there. And one piece going, because you work for your national team, you work for your nation. So this is something specific, but it's also. When we talk about now how the basketball developed, if you see it now, NBA organization, and now you see EuroLeague, which is growing up very rapidly now as a one league and maybe second best organization in the world basketball world right now. So this is how I say, also what I want to mention, we didn't touch it, is when you are a coach, you don't improve and develop yourself just being the part of one staff, being close to the one mastermind of the head coach or whoever is, but also being close to the master class of players, because I think this is interracial connection and relation. Imagine, you mentioned Olympics last summer. This is already the third year of being in the summer with the Jokić, with the Bogdanović, with Mičić, with all other. I will mention all. I would rather mention all the guys because everyone deserving this team to be mentioned. But like I say, because of the publicity, that bigger names now, NBA names that represent actually Serbia that way in NBA, but. You on a daily basis working with these guys. You have interaction, so you learn. They want to hear something new from you, or some good ideas and good suggestions, advice, whatever. But in other way, you get also the way they think, the way they see, the way they can explain something, and the way they decision making show on the floor. How they see the different situation, how they solve the problems. This is actually why is for me much better being in that position, even though you are assistant coach, second, third, or whoever, but you are part of this organization, then being like strictly okay, I'm gonna be a head coach, even I coach, I don't know, low level team and with a less potential in every aspect of the basketball. So this is how it is, and I believe that's my point of view. If somebody agree with that, of course. If not, we are all different.
And that's great again. I think a lot of coaches will admit to say, and once again, it's the same in my job as a mental performance coach. The more I coach players, and doesn't matter if it's here at Žalgiris Academy, doesn't matter if it's with the EuroLeague players or any other top level players, you keep growing from the relationship that you have with the players. And that's great to have the humility where obviously you need, and as a coach, it's always the same. you need that ego, that confidence in yourself about you bringing something to them. You have that confidence into what you can bring to them, but then have that humility to open up, to know that you don't know everything. You don't have to know everything, to be able to be vulnerable and to say, look, I'm going to open up. I'm going to learn from others. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, I think a lot of coaches who want to be successful are the same than top players, like the one that you quoted about. They want to be challenged. Like you said earlier, you talked about the fact that assistant coaches needed to bring initiatives. And I have discussed, and I know that working with you, I was looking to do the same, but with other coaches as well, to say that they want to be challenged. They don't want to just have people near them just to be like, yes, man. Obviously, you want to go towards the same direction. Obviously, you want to have similar values, things that are, like you kind of think alike so that it's easier to understand each other. But it doesn't mean that you are agreeing on everything. And if it's a positive, challenging thought, it helps always to grow, right? And I think like the coaches, the best coaches and the best players are always looking to be challenged. And that's something that sometimes we forget.
Absolutely. And, talking about the best players, it's, that was one of the things that we can mention, coaching best level guys or, the other level guys. I tell you, however big names are, however big influence of these guys are, it's much easier to coach these guys than the others if they are really, really that level. And this is exactly, going like close to what you mentioned. This is process. This is, I believe, never-ending process, and as long as you stay in this process, it's better for all. It's a lot of things going around on a positive way.
Right. Okay, so I think we actually started to discuss about it. You see, like we were talking about the relationship, eventually difference of relationship that you had to deal with. As an assistant coach, then as a coach, we started talking eventually a little bit about, working with the players. What can you tell us?
Relationship, it's I would say, relationship in general is like a thin line between players on the one side, coaches on the other side. It depends of the role, of course, but it's a thin line between the trust, respect, and authority. It's very sensitive area. Of course, it's a bit different when you're a head coach. You build a different kind of relation with the players, and it's a level of respect different, and a level of authority is different. But doesn't mean that there is not the same level of respect and authority and trust that exists between the assistant coach. But I mentioned before, I would say assistant coach is a bridge. And if this bridge is well done, that players have a trust in assistant coach, that they have respect to him, that they have not only basketball respect, but also the human respect. If they have also respect to authority, basketball authority that he has, then of course that's the initial point. That this cooperation will be successful for the long term. Then, of course, once you build this, you need to really care about how to improve this on every single day, every single basketball day, but also a day off as well. To go maybe sometimes to drink coffee, to maybe sometimes go for the lunch or dinner, trying with conversation to help the player to solve some problems that he has. Actually, if I can define, when the players see that, first of all, we mentioned trust, authority, respect, and this, but when they see that they can improve working with you, even verbal or basketball wise on the court, when they have this interest and the benefit, then connection is, I think, complete, and then the process starts and is going to grow. So I think this is very important, and this is why I say initiative is very important, but too much initiative is not so good. So there must be always right level of initiative for the certain moments, for the certain situation, and this and that. So this is how important is when assistant coach has, this value, where exactly it's time to do, where it's not, where it's time to maybe.
And that comes, like for any other job, like you talked about earlier, this comes from, first of all, the experience eventually of the coach himself or herself. And then from the time spent, like you explained earlier, about the time spent with the coach, because understanding each other. And I know, like, again, the role that I had within your staff last season was the same for you. When can I step in? When can I have an impact? When may I have room? Or maybe today I should step back a little, and it's not a day for this. It's not the moment for this. And it's true, like us, we had a short time together, but the more time you have, the more you're able to figure things out, the more you target the right work, because you know that you are doing the right thing. And
that's also important, communication with the coaches is very important, that every day you can target the right topic. It's not every day possible to work on the same topic, or one topic what is urgent to do today, say, okay, let's gonna do in 3 days. No, this is the life thing. Live, you need to react on the proper time. This is why communication and understanding between the people, especially in the coaching staff, is important. And understanding that the coaching staff is orchestra. And this is why exactly what do you say, like in this unfortunately short time working together, but was very, very good experience. We know exactly when, you jump into the let's say your sequence, like your piano or your drums, right, going to the song.
And we talk a lot. I apologize. We talk a lot about the assistant coachings earlier, but when we talk about this, it's also important to, because it comes to my mind when you talk about this situation. But it's also important to remember the role of the coach, so that the coach also allows his coaching staff to be able to have room to express themselves from time to time at the right time.
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, I'm not a coach. I have now, I'm now in a different area, different world, basketball world, and I have assistant coaches. But, that I explain everyone, doesn't matter from where I am, doesn't matter how my basketball knowledge is regarding the area where I am now here. I don't like to have a yes man. I like to have a people feeling that they can say and express the things that they see, they feel, the ideas and everything, because I think this helps. First of all, can speed up, the building the trust and respect between the people, and second, will help in process of solving the basketball problems that you have on a daily basis. So means I believe it's always good to have like that. And no matter where are you, as a basketball is a game, team is a team. Of course, different problems exist, but this is why the one coaching staff exists, with the knowledge, with experience, to find the best way to solve the problems. And regarding this, what I want to mention, it's especially for the head coach, but I don't mean that it's less for assistant coach, because today, for all coaches, it's availability of informations. You can find easy books, really great basketball books, more than ever. You can have video clinics more than ever. You can have podcasts more than ever. Chats, whatever, how basketball business growing now, of course, that communication and searching for the and sharing the knowledge, It's easier than imagine how it was 20, 25 years ago or 30 years ago. So, but collecting this all informations, what is here good advice, listen, it's good, of course. But after that, it's a hell of a work for every coach to make it clear and to make what for close to his philosophy, close to his basketball, what is important, what is less important.
Right.
And then with a exact and proper informations from the basketball that he has, bring this informations to the players that they can really accept this, and then that they can deliver on the floor. So those all the things are so important today.
Right. It's a process, like you say, and what's interesting also, and I can relate to this in my job as well, is the fact that there is a difference between understanding a situation and putting it into practice so that it's working. For example, with my job as mental performance coach with players, it's not because I show them a situation, whatever the situation might be, that by showing them the situation and them just understanding the situation, then they're just going to go to the court and then be able to execute every time at the high level. They need to understand the situation. They need to understand the situation, but then they also need to understand how to eventually anticipate the next time it happens, how to gain motivation, inner motivation from how much do I own that moment, and what can I do to perform at that level, what are my standards. And it started with what you said. And remember last year, we talked about this with the team. What's your identity? And every time it comes down to what's your identity. So my identity is this. So my standards are those. So my motivation to do the right thing are those. And then not only do I understand that I need to do something, but then I do it because of all those little steps. And it's true there are a lot of people, when you have so much information, it's easy for many basketball, like people in the world of basketball who love basketball, to understand something. But there is a clear difference between just understanding something and then putting it into practice to make sure that you own those standards and eventually are able to perform at that level. Do you follow me on this?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
So let's jump on another topic. Another topic that, again, we're talking about coaching position, assistant coach position, but that's another topic that I work a lot with players individually. How do you manage to differentiate the coach from the person, from the human being that you are? Do you manage to, plus you have a kind of a special situation in the way that you live abroad, your family doesn't live with you, so you're in the coaching mode often, right? And how do you manage to remind yourself to be Oliver and not to be Coach Kostić? How do you manage yourself to keep a healthy mental health so that you don't go into burnout, and that no matter how demanding you might be as a coach, no matter how ambitious you are as a coach, you still manage to find time to go and have a nice glass of wine like you like them, or like to have a nice meal, whatever that is, Can you tell us a little bit about this?
It's a great topic that you mentioned, that rarely people talk about this. I don't know from what is exact the reason, but especially today, I think it's a very important topic. It's a very important topic. Like you divided like two things, being in the shoes of coaching and being in the shoes of father, friend, husband, however, in a private zone. So I think this balance, it's the key fact for being successful in what you want to do. It doesn't matter which area of work you have. Once you tied your shoes for basketball, then of course you don't forget to be in person where you are. But of course, your mind and your focus is going for the basketball. But once you take your shoes off, I think you should be exactly what you are.
Right.
So, but this means also don't bring the basketball with you. Of course, if I sit with you after the practice, I will bring a piece of basketball and we can discuss about it. And this is a little bit different. But when you have a family, I think the most and honestly the best for the family and for the friends that you have. Even though I have basketball friends and I have other friends, but I really try to be, let's say, more with. I don't want to put any influence to the guys that they are really not living the basketball life. And I have a lot of friends in different areas. I have here, for example, they are in working in a financial sector, that they are working as a doctor. I really, when I sit with them, I don't talk about basketball. I talk about life. I talk about normal life and the normal things that exist in every house, in every family, in every couple, of people. So I think this kind of balance, it's necessary, not to be 24/7, occupied with the basketball. I know it's difficult for many people. It's difficult. I know many people are so deeply dedicated to the basketball that actually even if they sleep, they are. And I know myself when the season is live, especially when you go in these circumstances when, next game in 3 days to prepare, travel, problems here, problem there. I know that those things occupy your mind, but you need to find the time and you need to find the people where you can have a little bit off. Because if this going in a long term can burn your mind completely. And there's those kind of things when we see that, coach is getting out of control. I think piece of everything is giving these burns, to every coach that actually it's difficult, but when you see the coaches that they can work balanced with all those things, I think they have good control of it. But if I through this, what I said, explain a piece of me, I think, it was good to say that. I try to do the same thing. I have a different areas of interest out of the basket. I like the music. So from time to time, having a lot of basketball and the season is going on, of course, you need to find for your relax some time to listen to music. To find a book, which is not basketball book, to clear your mind, to go somewhere else with your mind for a, certain time, reading the book, finding the positive people around you to talk about different areas of life. Very good, very good. I mean, also, we didn't talk all the time only about, and you remember how actually our first talk start with basketball, but then he turns to the different areas of the life where we really got easy and quickly connected. So this is, I think, so important, especially today, where a lot of job around, a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations from different area, from yourself, from family, from club, from the players, from media, from friends. You need to handle it. And if you don't know how to find a way where you can relax your mind and the body and find the balance that you can be a best version of yourself after that on the basketball court and make the best decisions, I think, if you don't find this, it's easy to find success.
But it is true that it's also challenging, I think, for coaches in the way that, like you explained, many coaches, to be a coach, you have to be so much into it. And like you said, players don't realize when you're a player, you really focus about yourself, no matter how good of a teammate you might be and how much you care about your teammates, how much you care about your team to win. You still take care of yourself mostly. Let's say 90% you take care of yourself. When you're the coach, you have to take care of yourself, but you have to take care of everybody else. And so that means like it's hard because you're on nonstop, like you said. There are great things, positive things, where you have to build your game, build your program, build your philosophy, and it takes time. And then there are all those little things. There are all those little challenges, injuries, lack of communications, and whatever else is happening that you have to face from time to time. And through all of it, you still have to be responsible for it all. So it's really demanding, mentally speaking, for a coach. And I'm not even talking about just the performance side. I'm talking about the handling and not even just pressure, but just finding solutions and being able to respond to all of the solicitations that you guys have. That's really demanding. And that's where it's really hard, I think, because obviously I hear what you're saying makes sense. Once again, it's easy to understand, like I said just earlier. But how much difficult do you think it is for some coaches to eventually put it into practice when you want to do so well? Okay, you will like to listen to music is one thing, and it's a great tool, but you will like to go, I'm going to say an example, go fishing, go hunting, go, for a walk with your family in the nature and things. But when you are so much like playing 2-3 days and you have to travel and you have so much, and eventually you come back home and your kids are sick and your wife has a situation, whatever, it's really demanding. It's not like easy to be able to be perfect handling those situations always. So I think it's really demanding for coaches.
Absolutely. But then everything what you mentioned depends a lot of organization, of your personal organization.
Right.
And your personal organization, it's also the part of it is going to your staff. And this is, then we come to one of the most important things, who you have in your coaching staff. If you have the right people, right, when I say right people, everybody would like to say right people, but you need to also sometimes build the people to be right. And you need to help the people to be right.
Of course.
Right in organization that they really can follow and support the concept and the program. And if they take really with full responsibility and on a professional level, the part to make your job easier, then of course, with those organization, with this balance that you can find, then of course it's more chance that you can succeed, and that you don't bring the problems home, that
Right.
you don't bring the problems. Of course, there are many things, you just go walk and think about. So you bring your problem, but you bring it just on your walk, and you don't interfere in other people with all these things, even though there is some also effects of this on your body or your mood, or however. This is a lot of it's a big amount of stress in this business.
Right.
Especially today where the people are impatient, because losing one game is like end of the world. So it's very difficult in the mandate position, and whatever we touch right now, I think can give a good picture about importance. And you see how it's a teeny line between all coaching that you have actually.
Right. So I have a question with question that it's going to be about your opinion, obviously. We talk a lot about the mental health from players. You know that my approach is not only about mental health, but it's also mental performance, but specific to the game of basketball with players. The many players that I'm working with, they mostly started working with me because they eventually met challenges and met adversity, and it was hard for them. They were like in a down moment, let's say. How much do you think it is important for coaches to look into the mental health side and work with people on their mental health, so that they eventually anticipate burnouts and that they manage to develop relationship with people so that they feel relaxed and they feel supported, challenged, and again feel just secure with who they are, because we always come back to the identity thing, And do you think there is a potential for coaches, the same way then players start to talk and being coached mentally? I know some coaches start doing it, but once again, it takes a lot of ego and personality and character to be a coach. And it takes vulnerability for a coach to open up and to be able to work with someone. Do you think there is room, with your experience, with what you know about the mental health, the mental performance, and everything that you've been going through? Do you think it would be useful for coaches, and there is potential for coaches to use those mental coaches?
I believe, that every day there is a proof how important this part of the support and help is necessary for the teams and organizations. So I think that we're living in the present time in let's say in the world where everything is so quick and we are in kind of stress, chasing always something, and then permanently doing this, that we come to the point that we are not having, we don't have enough time for normal things to do or normal things to think about, that we don't have time and patience to talk more to the people, to understand more people. There's always something what is more urgent than something else. That it's too many things around that we jump from one topic to another topic, that we forget some things. And I think we are losing a little bit of the let's say the basic things that actually we need to always come back and start again and again. One of the things is, communication on the proper level, communication about proper things, cleaning the things from, let's say, contamination that comes out of a lot of social networks, a lot of media. Many people now more involved in your life, either is a private life or business life or sport life, if we talk about. And of course, not easy to handle all these things, and not easy to clean up and clear up all these things. So for that point, I'm a witness of, sometimes losing your path. And then it's good to have person which is really well connected or identified with the organization or the concept or the program, that in this situation can jump and help and say, hey, let's go drink coffee, talk about these things, bring you back to the right way, bring you way, to the right focus. So for me, I believe that, and I see by my eyes that more teams, more organization is going that way on a daily basis, or it's kind of always way how you can cooperate. I know many high-level players that have, let's say, I don't know what the right, I think what you say is like a mental coach, or I don't want to say life coach, it's maybe too big, too much. But I know many good examples how these people help the players that after that really express their potential on the best level. Because sometimes, there are some obstacles that you cannot find easy way how to reach them and jump over them. And there are, always people that they can help you to find this way. So I believe it is. And in the future, more and more, with the speed of light that we have, and the importance of having people that they can always. We are missing also not enough, even though how communication tools improved. I don't think that we don't communicate, because if you see now, everybody has a mobile phones, and even though you sit at home, people are just watching the phones. They don't talk. It's the same in the teams. It's the same ever. I have one rule now also with my family. I do when we are sitting on the table, there's no phones. And we are forced, actually, not by this way, we are forced that our focus is on the table, on talking as a family, and so on and so on. And those things we forget, by the time and by the speed of the things going around us. And this is why what I believe is like that.
I agree. The technology, the speed of receiving information, the resources we have, the habits that can be bad habits by using those technological materials, no matter if it's the phone, the iPads, the computers. It's something that we need to learn how to manage more. It plays a lot on communication, like you say, a lot of on focus as well, on the attention of the young generation who has a lot of difficulty managing to find their concentration and their focus. So that's something that we're going to have to handle in the very soon future. One last question I wanted to ask you. You talked about music earlier, for example, which I think is a great tool, like I mentioned, for anyone to be able to relax. You talked about relaxing, but it can also be used to motivate yourself, or depending on the mood that you want, the music that you want to listen to. It's a really great tool to use to recharge mentally one way or another. I wanted to ask you, because it's another tool that I use with players. We talked about the difference between you as a person, eventually you as the coach. Do you ever felt like you kind of used an alter ego? Did you ever use a kind, like when I'm talking about it with players, and we've seen NFL players, NBA players using alter egos, like Black Mamba, whoever you want, like Ant-Man, Baby Chef Assassin, Babyface Assassin, whoever you want, like Magic. They had alter egos. It was the guys were at home, the guys that they were, but when they come on the court, they manage to basically become that alter ego to be able to perform at a very high level often. As a coach, is this something that you eventually use, or feel like it doesn't have to be a superhero kind of name, but do you feel like you kind of go into an alter state to become the coach compared to the person, or not often?
In my case, I'm not part of it. I'm not part of it. I am what I am, like I really don't look to find anything what can be like you say, that there are some people more in a player society than in a coaching society, but I see also that in coaching society, some people try to use this. I'm not a part of it. I am what I am. I try to be the best version of myself, working, understanding I learn a lot from more experienced coaches, and this is why sometimes I spend more time with these people, because you see how much you can learn about. And the thing is, you should be best version of yourself. I don't need if you ask me, I don't need for anything now that I can promote as an alter ego, or I can be behind this or produce this. No. I want to be what I am, but where exactly want to put a focus on is be up to the date. Talking to the people that they can help you. To develop yourself, the discussion, communication, permanent with the people that they have this experience, they have this kind of mastermind that creates something. But I learn also having in the national team one mastermind that he is a person who always asks for opinion, no matter how your experience is. Right now the level of coaching is, no, we are all different, we see different, and we can have opinion. And sometimes, no matter how good you are, one simple opinion or one comment from, let's say, the person that see the basketball different way can help you to upgrade and to find another idea or to solve the problem different way. So this is what I'm looking to be, if you ask me about that. And what I suggest, try for myself, if I need to suggest someone, go this way. Some people feel better in a this kind of shoes. Okay, but then you need to find who you are.
Of course.
These people that they can work that way.
Yeah.
Without ego, with also a different presentation, or you can find yourself being what you are, just performing depends of the situation.
Of course.
Performing, if I say, if you go to the gym, perform as a coach, be the coach, be the human being always. But in the gym, your job is, to be the coach.
Right.
And out of gym, be whatever else you're supposed to be: the father, the husband, the friend, whatever else you need to be.
Yeah. But it's again, I completely understand and respect your what you just explained. To me, when we compare it to the players, it's very hard also for some players, for example, when you say know who you are, once again, there is who you are as a person and who you are as a competitor. Because when you are someone who's a nice guy and many people are well educated, respectful, polite, you cannot ask them to be all those and then just go on the court and kick ass. If they want to win every duel, not when just things, the weather is beautiful and they feel good, but also when they struggle, they have a little pain somewhere and adversity is very high. How do they manage to win their duels? Is by, like you say, defining an identity. And in my belief, it shouldn't be the same identity of being the nice guy that they are off the court. It should be being the kick-ass competitor that they are on the court. So that's why the alter ego for players is a very interesting tool to use for them to go with a different personality, to say, look, I'm here right now to really go and be more aggressive than eventually I would be outside, because of the court, I'm a nice person. But we don't want you to be a nice person on the court. We want you to have that extra confidence, limits arrogance, cockiness that we always talk about the greatest players, to say, look, I don't doubt myself. I'm so confident from my preparation that I don't doubt myself. But outside of the court, I'm actually approachable and nice, and I don't have the same cockiness. You know what I mean? That's where I believe that it can be useful to use that alter ego thing for players. And I understand what you say about like the coaching, staying true to yourself and your identity. I would like to ask you, you talked about like, you mentioned without mentioning him, but Coach Pesić eventually. What would you say like you would have learned the most from coaching with him, being part of his staff? You just mentioned eventually him opening the discussion and always being able to listen to perspective from different people. What would you say you learned the most from being in part of his staff and being able to work along his sides?
Easy to ask, not easy to answer.
I'm in the position where I ask, so it's easy.
I know him more than 20 years, and we are more than two coaches, like working, because we are connected on a daily basis for many things. We are connected really, I think, as a people, as a friends, and it's a really, really high mutual respect and trust between us. And from that point, difficult to judge, but what I say, I would mention two things. First is dedication, which absolutely is on the highest possible level that I see with him, even though he's a 75 now, turning 70, 76. And the second thing is his ability to adapt on all things, that's belongs to the present time. So, you know, people used to say, okay, old coach, you know, it's by the age and it's old basketball. But the people didn't understand and didn't see well that he has, by the age, he is very old, you know. But mentally, it's, you know, it's in the same, let's say, kind of shape that always been, because every day to produce something, thinking, solving the problems, being up to the date, you know, to understand the present time, to understand the life of the athletes today, not to see them like it was before like that, now no, being up to date. I think that's two things, if I can say, dedication and how this ability to adapt and to change to the modern time, to the modern request of basketball and environment, basketball environment, and all those things. Right. And it's the biggest improvement, you know, the last our event we had in the Paris. How was for him, you know, with his basketball mind and age and experience, getting, you know, to the right communication and harmony with the players, presenting really modern basketball, that I'm proud of it.
And that's I think those are two great topics to address for many coaches. Dedication, obviously, as a coach, dedication is key when you put so much heart into what you're doing. But then you need so much humility, like you said, when you're 75, 76 years old, to be able to say, look, I am open to accept the players, and I need to, if I want to perform and deliver my message, to connect with them. So if you want to connect with them, you cannot just tell them, like you said, I'm older, I know better, it was the way like this before, it should be this way. You need to adapt. And like you say, he adapts both on the basketball side and on the human side. And so those are great messages to deliver to coaches all over the world, to make sure that, okay, obviously we discussed several times the importance of identity, who you want to be, where you want to go, what direction you want to take, what's your coaching philosophy. It's important that it has to be strong, but you also need to adapt and make sure that you are connecting to your team, both on the basketball side, according to the nowadays, let's say, fashion, technical fashions, and also on the human side where you can relate to those younger generation. And that's key if you want to deliver the message, no matter how true, how effective, how much you believe your own content is productive, you know. But it wouldn't be productive if you don't connect to your players and to your team.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I want to also mention, you know, like a fashion, basketball fashion, you know, I follow everything what's going on, you know, a lot of things that you can see on the court that could be named as a fashionable now basketball tools, things. But, you know, seeing what happened in the national team last summer, you know what for me is a fashion? Fashion is when you have one concept which you believe and you put on the floor, mm-hmm. and then you let the guys to make this program better with their creativity, ideas, and potential. And this is for me fashionable.
I agree with you.
To bring these people, talented, skillful, great basketball minds, that into the program that you bring,
right?
They can the creativity create the things that you don't even need to practice. And this is for me best fashion. No. Because tricks can help you in a certain situations, but on a long term, tricks will not bring you to the wrong. So basic things and fundamentals and the right, let's say, what is the right concept? Not right concept. You need to have a concept, but you need to be ready to develop this concept together with the staff, but together with the players and all together. Because there was one thing that I learned through all these years: better to have one concept, even though maybe not the best one, than to have 10 different concepts. Because if you let the things to go that way, then the one player start to critically say, yes, but this should be like this, and that. Then the second one comes, third one. Then you spread in 10 different concepts and ideas, and then for sure you go to disaster. But let's have our concept, and let's see now how we can develop this by our creativity, actually, by our potential talents, our mind.
Get the most out of what you do instead of trying to do too much and not doing well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, look, Oliver, to me, I think that would be the final note for today. We went over the hour like we always do now. And Nico,
we try to be short.
we try to be short, but I think it's a great podcast, a great episode for coaches, assistant coaches, anyone who loves basketball. Obviously, like we said earlier, they might understand and know many things, but it's not just about understanding. It's in going into details, making sure that you have anecdotes and that they can use those anecdotes that you talked about, that you discussed, that are very rich and that can help coaches all over the world to eventually define their identity, to strengthen their program and their belief into what they want to do. And I think that's a great resources for people to be able to listen to this and access. So thank you once again for your availability, for your will to share with us all of your experience. And eventually I might look forward for episode 3, one of those coming days, depending on your inspiration.
Thank you very much, first of all, for your invitation, that for the interest that we can keep going and keep talking about. This is, I'm really, feeling great that we had second chance to talk about, and I believe that also what we talk about can help some coaches, or open new discussion, open new areas to discover. And even though we didn't, with all, let's say, small topics that we wanted to talk about, but as you see that the live discussion always brings you somewhere where you don't you didn't plan to be, but can give you also the chance that maybe in the future we can jump to the certain things. There are a lot of areas that we can give more precise information about. I think it's always, especially today, this position, head coach, assistant coach, the duties, the role, the areas of responsibility, especially what to mention, this and that, and of course experience working with all these people. Like you say, that many anecdotes helps you, to understand sometimes how the players see the situation, and also how the other coaches see the situation. But that's all also part of the business and part of the actually the basketball life that we have.
All right. Thank you once again. All the best of luck for everything that's going on with you in Kuwait and with your teams. And I look forward to keeping in touch very soon. See you soon.
Thanks again, and all the best to everybody.